Hello and welcome to the channel.
So hey everyone, look at this stranger that I somehow shanghaied into being on this video after over a year. And if you haven't seen my last video, this is the newest member of the clan. He is already much more baby. He looks much more like a baby than he did 3 weeks ago. Which today's Wednesday. Yeah, he actually is exactly 3 weeks and a couple hours old now, since he was born at 6:36 in the morning. And if you want to know more about what giving birth to him was like, I invite you to go watch my old video about it. He's probably hungry right now, actually. Anyway, so I brought my lovely...
Today we're going to talk about my vasectomy.
Yes.
Which is partially due to this and his older brother, and partially due to I'm just done.
Yeah.
Two kids and I'm out.
Yeah, so a lot of you have been asking, because I posted on, I posted on the Top of the Topic Instagram that yesterday I posted a picture of us going to the vasectomy, and it's funny because you're distracted because you're driving, and I'm like smiling all stupid, so everyone's like, oh, it looks like you're more excited than he is. I'm like, no, he was just distracted. He is super excited.
So...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a special person when it comes to just life.
And pain.
And pain and everything. So I've been excited about this vasectomy. I set it up deliberately when I did, and I showed up ready for it.
I'm the one that made him wait until after Aiden was born, because I wanted to make sure
they
were correctly.
They were quite amused by me. I was having the nurses and the doctors all laughing during my vasectomy. They actually had to stop for a moment while she calmed down, and then she told me to stop making her laugh.
And he did it through the VA, by the way.
I did it through the VA, and it was very simple and easy, and it was like a 10-15 minute operation once they did the local anesthetic.
Yeah, and originally you thought it was going to be a laser kind, but then you found out it was actually a scalpel.
It still was bloody quick as anything.
Yeah.
I had a total of 3 people working with me. 2 female nurses and 1 female doctor, RNs as the nurses, and they were very, very quick and efficient.
There was a joke about them handling balls all day.
Yeah, I'm a horrible person, not very appropriate, but they appreciated me for just kind of being me.
He does it. He manages to do it in a funny way, not in a misogynistic way, at least what I've heard. I mean, I hear most of this secondhand, but it seems like he's taken in the spirit he means. Not.
I got hugs before I left, if that says anything, from everyone that worked with me.
You're probably a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, usually they deal with much older people or people that are more reluctant than me. I was one of the most excited that they've ever encountered, all of them.
Yeah, you said they never had anyone faint, but one person came close, I think. I
also came pretty close to fainting.
But that wasn't from fear, that
wasn't from fear or anything like that. No, it was just... So, did the local anesthetic, and then
so let's walk through the process. Okay. So we went to the check-in. I stayed in the room and started in the lobby and started doing a puzzle. You went around the corner and... I
sat on a chair for 15 minutes while they started prepping everything. They sat me down once I got inside the room, and they're like, okay, let's make sure you know what's going on, what's going to happen, and they talked me through everything to expect, pre-surgery, actual surgery, and my post-op recovery. And I had already covered all this before. I was relatively knowledgeable, so we flew through it really quick, and then they just verified that I had no questions. Signed my name saying I authorized, and at that point I tossed on a jock strap. Now...
I think so, it was more like a cod piece.
It's a jock strap.
Okay.
That's what it is. I could stand up and show everyone, but I really am too lazy. The whole thing is that they want you to wear relatively loose clothing, so... it doesn't catch on everything else.
Stitch it.
But the jock strap itself is what's going to be supporting you, because you do not want your danglies to dangle. It's a little bit more sensitive than you'd think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so local anesthetic, they did one side at a time. Made a little incision.
One side of your testes.
It's between your testicle, and then you have a sac there that's the pressurized fluid for whenever you ejaculate.
Yeah, which
there's a little
know the name of, but...
hose there.
Hose.
Tube. Okay. So.
Mass deferens. I don't know.
As soon as they opened it up, they took a set of I don't know if they're called forceps or whatever, but they opened up the cut enough that they could reach in there. Took a pair of not tweezers, but hemostats are the equivalent, and then they pinched it off on both sides as they had this little tube. You know, this is my nut sack. There's a little tube sticking out of a little cut. And they had on each side, say, hemostats, sliced, because they wanted to shorten it.
Yeah, they take out a chunk. They don't just
to help prevent it from trying to regrow back together. And then she lightly burnt.
I'm like picturing these two magnets. They're like zoop.
So here I am. I'm watching it. I actually got the pillow. I shifted it so I could watch better. And I'm
sure they were like, weirdo.
I'm one of the few that's watched. But when it started smoking, something about it was so wrong. I actually went flush, and they started making fun of me. Yeah, like, oh, it's getting warm in here. I'm like, oh, it's about 350 degrees, maybe 355. I'll be okay though. And you know, they're making fun of me. They did that for both sides. Now, the shot was probably the most entertaining part, because they literally said it's going to feel like a burn and then a kick. And I've had some shots before and they burnt a little bit. But the kick was, my body actually felt like someone had just taken a foot and kicked me in the general area. Huh. And everything
so what
just
was causing the kick?
Tightened up. It was whatever shot, because they did two...
so it was supposed to make you
chemicals, and it was, you're supposed to burn. Okay. And then... Like, I didn't actually watch that part, the needle. I didn't get to see it. Oh, no, I just...
You were too tired at that point?
No, I was just sitting there. I didn't have a good angle, so I couldn't really see exactly where they were putting it in.
They didn't give you a mirror? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I wanted a mirror, and they said that they would think about it in future if someone else is as crazy as me.
See, when I gave birth to him, this time, I made him take 1 million pictures. And then as we're sitting there in the hospital, I forgot to say this in the last video, he sends me, it was like 400 pictures, and he's just texting them all to me, like 2 at a time, so my phone's going ding, 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 and I open it up.
And the nurse is laughing
and it's like literally like pictures of my bloody vagina with the baby head sticking out. I'm like, thanks, honey.
That's what she wanted. But anyway, so vasectomy, for the moment I sat down in the chair with my jockstrap on, they're like, okay, strip down, here's a towel, put it over you. They were actually going to put a barrier between me and the operation, so I wouldn't see it.
Which makes me think of Handmaids, too.
But I didn't care about the barrier, so they were like, okay, we'll leave it down. They're pretty quick. There's only about 10 tools that they really needed total. You know, a couple set of hemostats.
What is a hemostat? I've never heard
so
of that.
hemostats are the ones that have little like claws at the bottom so that they can pinch down really tight.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, I've never heard of this.
And it's just a general name for them. Okay. I don't know the specific kind they were using. I'm just calling them hemostats to make it easy. And I believe forceps are the ones that actually widen it out, so they had a type of forceps for me. Okay. Anyway, so, you know, as soon as they put the light on me and doctor wiped me down, it was go time, and 15 minutes later I was standing up. Yeah, the stitching was pretty quick and easy. Yeah. That felt really odd, the tugging, because I know it should have hurt.
And it looks like you basically don't see anything. If you look there, there's like a little tiny cut and a little tiny cut. You can't, there's no like massive scar or anything.
They did say expect discoloration, a little bit of swelling. If it gets over like a golf ball size of swelling, you know, definitely call them.
At the spot or?
Just in general. Okay. So far my swelling is not even marble size. It's extremely small. Yeah, I'm barely noticing it.
You got over it. But then the thing to keep in mind also is that you don't, like, ever since his Navy days, he has sort of a messed up pain reception.
Pain threshold, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really feel pain that as much.
They gave me Vicodin, which I used 3 pills yesterday just to make sure I wasn't feeling pain.
They gave him 6.
But I haven't bothered taking any today.
Never really taken. Which is funny because the first one he didn't have enough food in his stomach, so he took it and he was like, woo!
I was a little loopy.
Now Vicodin, I've only ever had Vicodin once when I had my laser eye surgery, and like, you know, he's talking about the burning, and I can commiserate because when I got my laser eye surgery, I remember sitting there looking up at the laser thing as they're doing it and smelling burning and thinking, I should be freaking out right now, but I'm not. I guess it's the Vicodin keeping me calm. So the real question I'm sure a lot of people have, and I mean, like you said, you look at life differently than a lot of people, so just because it applies to you probably doesn't apply to everybody else. But I think what a lot of people are wondering, well, okay, so there's the overarching question of why exactly did you decide to get one? Because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you might change your mind. And then there's a question of like, were you afraid, or you know, why weren't you afraid?
So the procedure is considered a non-reversible procedure. Yes, it is possible to reverse it, but that's at great expense, and it's not very
guaranteed.
Easy. It's not guaranteed. Also, you have a higher chance of reversing it within the first couple months, but after that, it gets a lot more or a lot less successful to be fully operational again.
I wonder how it's changed over the last like 20 or 30 years, because we have a friend who, the guy she's married to, got a vasectomy before they were ever married.
Vasectomies have actually been pretty consistent other
Really?
than the advent of the laser. Yeah, it's been pretty much the exact same thing for years.
She married him after he had already gotten a vasectomy, and she thought she would never be able to have kids, but then she ended up getting pregnant anyway, even though he had a vasectomy. So I guess somehow it reattached itself. Maybe they just didn't take out as much of a chunk back then or something. But
it sometimes does that, and it could be years and no reheal. Usually if you do have a rehealing, it's supposed to happen pretty quick in the first, you know, couple months. Anyway, so was I scared? I was joking on the table, you know, while I'm laying there about...
But sometimes you joke as like a cover for nerves.
So I was joking, I was like, oh, is it too late to walk away? And she actually stepped back from me. She's like, if you want to, you can do that right now. It's like, no, just do it, just do it.
Yeah, just
it was... I felt no fear. I had very, very competent nurses and a doctor. So...
Yeah, like what would you have been afraid of? Oh, they're gonna accidentally cut your balls off? No, it's not like they're swinging the scalpel crazy. Like
the incisions were about, I'd say, maybe 1/2 to 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
And she made 2 of them in order to do that.
Did you have any fear that it might, you know, lead to obviously impotency is what you want, lead to the inability to get a hard on?
Well.
I think that's what a lot of guys are afraid of. Is that
the biggest thing is that most people are scared of that because they're not aware of what a vasectomy actually is.
Yeah, it's not. It has nothing to do with the dick.
A lot of times the doctors will try to tell people, but there's misinformation out there that says, you know, oh, you get a vasectomy, you're less of a man, you lose out on your sex drive, etc., etc.
Just check your sources, basically. Make sure you're not just reading it on some forum where people don't have any
all it does is just
training.
Cut out a little bit from A to B and put a blockage there.
It doesn't affect your ability to I can't, words are failing
perform.
me right now.
No, it does not protect you.
All I can think is get a hard on. I can't think of the scientific term.
Perform. I like perform.
Perform.
It's very, very scientific. It sounds like you're an actor, a thespian.
Yeah. And then, obviously...
So I'm a thespian at night. I perform. I show my wife how much I love her by pretending to love her.
Not right now, though. I'm still healing from childbirth.
Oh, yeah. She's still healing.
Although, I was talking in the childbirth video about how when I gave birth to Link 2 years ago, they gave me an episiotomy, which is it's a cut in your taint, basically. And it took months before I could even sit comfortably. It's been 3 weeks now. I have no pain. I am still bleeding a little bit, but I have no pain, and this time they let me tear naturally, so that's definitely, if you can, tell them to just let you tear. I wish they had not given me the
if you have the ability to choose, but the doctor will override you if you need it.
That's the thing. When I gave birth to Link, she just did it, and I mean, she thought it was necessary.
She said she thought it was necessary, and
it is something that different doctors have different opinions about. So. And then, you touched on it briefly, but basically, why did you get a vasectomy? Like, what makes you feel like you for sure don't want any more kids? Because, I mean, for one thing, we never had a daughter. We have 2 sons. I don't want to get pregnant again.
I don't want to be pregnant either, and I know that's a little bit more harder just for me to be pregnant.
Is it the financial aspect mostly, or is it just you don't think you have the energy for 3 kids? Because we do want to adopt in, like, another few 5-ish years, so the energy one doesn't really make sense. Or is it because we're reliving the difficulty of the newborn phase? Like, he's an angel right now. Nighttime, he doesn't.
I'm very happy with 2 kids at this point. In a few years, it'll make more sense to possibly grow the family a bit more. We're a little limited on space, but even ignoring that, I just don't want to have that worry that I'm not using a condom, my wife's not using birth control. Oh, well, I don't have to worry about it. I know I don't have any STDs, or neither does she, so I'm not worried about that part. But having a kid, condoms get expensive too.
And they lessen sensation, and they don't always work, and blah blah blah.
And birth control, there are some pros and cons to it. For some people, it helps control their periods.
For one thing, I was on birth control when I got pregnant with Link. It didn't work for me somehow. I mean, it worked for a long time because we were doing it a lot at that point, and then when we started tapering off, that's when I got pregnant somehow. But yeah, birth control doesn't always work, and also it does increase your chances of getting cancer. Very, very, very minorly, but it does. So birth control isn't great. Plus, it's annoying having to remember a pill every day and everything like that.
Baby power.
Did you ever have the thought?
Good going, little dude. Oh yeah, fart it out.
Oh, that was stinky. Did you ever have the thought of, instead of you getting a vasectomy, asking me to get my tubes tied?
Well, on that same note, it's a lot longer recovery, from my understanding, for a female to have to go through it. Plus, as a reversible procedure, it's even harder to reverse it. For a female, it's not that long either. It's still about, less than an hour and a half. It's a lot more invasive and a lot more problematic.
And also, I don't have, I wasn't married to him when he was in the Navy, so I don't have the VA, so we'd have to pay for it if I got it.
That wasn't even, the thought process.
No,
but
I know, that is part of it.
I think it's much more effective for me to have that. If my wife ever sleeps with someone else outside of our marriage, I'm sure she's going to choose protection for that.
Yeah, see,
and if I ever get to that point, I want to also,
someday.
But I'm just, it's one of those things, I want to keep myself as well protected as I can.
Yeah, that's, people are like, oh, she's going to sleep, that's a whole other video that we'll someday film. Technically,
the cat sleeps in her bed too, so I'm just saying, that cat gets a lot more action than I do. Cause
yeah, we always joke that the dog is Link's dad, so I guess the cat is Aiden's dad. Anyway, so you had no fear, and how do you feel now? I mean, it happened yesterday at 12, and it's about 12 now. So.
It's 24 hours later. It's slightly tender, like you don't want someone to come up and just grab you by the junk, but in general, I'm sitting relatively comfortably.
You're only on ibuprofen right now, right?
Yeah, I'm taking my ibuprofen, and I'm doing it per the doctor's orders.
Yeah, that was another thing. I have
plenty left if I need them, but that's just to combat the swelling and keep it down.
That was another thing that cracked me up.
You keep your swelling down, and you're golden.
So I delivered a child through my vagina, and they gave me 400 milligram ibuprofen to take, once every 6 hours, and him
800 for every 6 hours, but my first use was supposed to be first use was 2.
Oh,
because there's supposed to be a lot of swelling immediately, so it's either going to swell right away or else I'm golden.
But still, it just cracks me up that I delivered an entire human being out of my vagina, and they gave me less pain meds than they gave him for 2 little snips on his ballsack. Probably because
guys are wusses. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I am done.
Yep. So thank you, honey, and hopefully that answered whatever questions people have.
If anyone else has questions, please comment down below and try to keep it relatively appropriate, because
well, if it's not, I'm just not
some of you guys seriously,
you need a life, you need a hobby. Go knit.
Yeah, go knit. That's a fun one.
Which actually I've been doing a lot of lately, but
all right.
And Aiden's getting fussy, so I'm gonna hand it back over. And
here, let me put my pickles back.
Go watch the childbirth video if you want to know more. Like I said, about what giving birth to Aiden was like. My husband is not in it. It's very difficult to get him to be in the video. That's why this was amazing that he agreed to be in this one. And
Aiden, say goodbye to the camera. Look at the camera. Oh, close enough. That was a burp. I was. My arm was right behind him. He burped.
He did burp. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.